Top 10 coolest
Zanpakuto on the
Bleach
list.
Zanpakutos.
What
Okay.
is Nozarashi, you may ask? Why, it's our favorite Blood Knight and Battle Sage Kenpachi Zaraki Zanpakuto.
The
Yes, in the
eye
final
patch dude.
arc, Kenpachi finally released his Zanpakuto, and the lean, chipped sword that we have
I guess
all grown to
Zanpakuto is
love
like
gives
Bankai?
way to a great axe, giving our already destructive captain even more raw power.
He looks so badass,
in true
though.
Kenpachi fashion, Nozarashi retains its wielder's brute force gimmick, allowing him even more destructive capabilities, but that's not even getting to its Bankai form yet. In Bankai, Nozarashi pretty much turns Kenpachi into Bleach's version of Fate Stay Night's Berserker. Just look at that appearance and judge for yourself.
That is very scary. So Zanpakutos is like a level before Bankai?
She is nigh unstoppable in this form,
or something
and he pretty
similar
much
to
becomes
Bankai?
a demonic herald of decimation in Bankai.
Demon.
Few Zanpakuto can match Nozarashi in terms of raw power, but in a world of creative ability such as Bleach, raw power ain't gonna cut it. Further up the list, we move on to something more familiar to those who have grown up on the anime.
Seen that before? That's gotta be like one of the coolest ones, right?
Who could forget Renji's signature whip sword that turns into a bony snake?
Yep.
Zabimaru has been a mainstay in Bleach, and it came with an awesome debut episode during the Soul Society arc. Unfortunately, its Bankai form has since been power creeped, and overall, even with this supposedly powerful Bankai, Renji doesn't have the best win-loss record out there. Despite everything, Zabimaru is still simple and pretty cool too. Much like a lot of the main characters on
I mean, hey, look how... one of my favorites probably is, without even seeing it.
Zabimaru gets a much-needed upgrade in the final arc in the form of its true Bankai form. Now known as Soul Zabimaru, Renji's true Bankai rests upon its wielder's body in a much cooler form. It also gives Renji nifty new attacks as well, such as an ability that allows Renji to fire spiritual blasts through energy-generated jaws.
Kinda wish he wasn't a bad guy. You know? He's so cool.
Coming up next is another Zanpakuto that you'd have actually seen and grown familiar with already thanks to the anime. Actually, more people know it for its Bankai form rather than its Shikai form, with how often it gets used in Bankai. I'm talking about Hyorin Maru.
Loving the blue though.
The
looks like a frozen angel.
And his ice dragon wings has been a fangirl dream since the peak years of Bleach. Daiguren Hyorin Maru needs no introduction, and I think few Zanpakuto has the distinction of giving its wielder such an iconic change in form. In terms of ice powers, not a lot can match Hitsugaya and Hyorin Maru, known as the strongest ice Zanpakuto. Hyorin Maru grants Hitsugaya tons of flower-themed ice abilities that specialize mostly in direct offense, putting him in contrast with the series' other prominent ice wielder who specializes in area of effect combat. More on that later. Hitsugaya proves that training does pay off, and in the final arc of the manga, he unlocks Daiguren Hyorin Maru's complete Bankai form, transforming him into Ichigo? Hyorin Maru makes it there for the sheer cultural impact of its form. I don't think that there is a Zanpakuto transformation that's more recognizable than Daiguren Hyorin Maru.
So wait, it seems like Zanpakutos give you like ice abilities, maybe like that's your basic power? That's a massive dude.
On the topic of Bankai releases, we have the Zanpakuto with the honor of the longest gap. It didn't take long for us to see Benihime Shikai. Used by Urahara in the early arcs, Benihime functions similarly to Zangetsu in the sense that it fires beams. It can also be used defensively due to its ability to manifest a red shield. However, the most intriguing part about Benihime comes in Urahara's comment about its Bankai form not being fit to train others. Why is that so, you might be asking? After 600 chapters in the manga, we finally get our answer. It's
only 600.
Primarily built for combat or training. In place of the usual physical or magical attacks that Bankai typically get, Benihime's Bankai form specializes in reconstruction. Befitting a genius creator like Urahara, the Bankai is able to reconstruct anything at the molecular level. So that means dissecting and stitching Urahara's injuries together and altering the enemy's properties. The best part about it, its effect isn't limited to combatants. Even the environment can become Urahara's weapon should he decide to reconstruct pathways.
Doesn't that seem so broken? Right? Like if he can manipulate anything and reconstruct it however he wants. There's gotta be like some counter to it. There's gotta be.
Now, at first glance, Ashisogi Jizo seems to be a
Jeez.
Zanpakuto fitting for resident mad scientist Mayuri. To put it lightly, it looks disgusting and off-putting, a true reflection of its owner's sick and twisted personality. In the anime, Mayuri's used Ashisogi Jizo's Shikai form as a poison injector. More often, however, Mayuri uses his Zanpakuto in his Bankai form, a gigantic caterpillar bound to elicit some big-time nightmares. Yes. What if I tell you that it's not even its final form? Ashisogi Jizo's final Bankai form, as seen in the manga, takes the form of an even more grotesque baby that spits out clones of itself, tailor-made to counter whatever overpowered abilities
what is that?
Mayuri's opponents use. On the fly, Mayuri's Bankai can create a version of itself that acts as a hard counter. Counter Mayuri to create a Bankai that's the personification of his ability to counter everything, given the chance and time to do so.
Huh? Wow, that's nasty. Jeez. Whoa. Fox. Oh jeez, okay. This guy.
One of the more awaited Bankais in the series is none other than the Captain Commanders. As such, Ryujin Jaka blazes its way to claiming the 5th spot on the list. Those manga readers who were curious as to what destructive capabilities Captain Yamamoto held didn't need to wait too long after the conclusion of the Fullbringer arc. Powering his way through Quincy's in his desperate bid to save Soul Society, Captain Commander Yamamoto unleashes his Ryujin Jaka's full potential with its Bankai. Zanka no Dachi, the Bankai, creates a blazing atmosphere upon casting, causing far-reaching effects akin to a drought for most
Bro's literally on fire. Oh my god.
People. In addition to the expected fiery powers, it also grants Yamamoto a protective armor of flames and the ability to reanimate.
Or did he fry all of these people?
Dead. Pretty much nothing can stand in the way of its sheer might. Zanka no Dachi's final move serves to incinerate and burn everything in its way to a crisp.
That's what it looked like it did. Oh, there it is.
Rounding out our pre-top 3 list is Byakuya's Senbon Zakura at 4th place. I don't know about you, but I think that the image of Byakuya using Senbon Zakura is one of the most visually stunning attacks in Bleach. Breaking down into numerous cherry petals that swirl around and slice up his enemies, Senbon Zakura has been a fan favorite of many, owing mostly to its unique flair and the popularity of its wielder. If swarming enemies isn't enough, Senbon Zakura's Bankai form can also be converted into numerous forms of Byakuya, such as a hall of swords and a sphere of death. It even got a new mode in the final arc where he throws all Senkei swords in one go, focusing purely on offense. With Senbon Zakura, death by 1,000 cuts never looked so cool before.
Dang. That's kind of similar to Byakuya's one though. Like the swords.
The Kuchikis really have it down pat when it comes to kicking ass while looking as graceful as possible. Following her brother's footsteps, Rukia proudly takes her place as the owner of the number 3 tame in comparison. Things get even more awesome in her manga-only Bankai form. Named Haka no Togami, Sode no Shirayuki's Bankai form released...
The character design in Bleach is gonna be one of the best, right? Like, I've never seen such attention to detail. I love it. Every character is different.
Is a super AoE freezing field, causing everything around Rukia to freeze and subsequently crumble. Physical contact with Rukia at this point will even cause others to freeze due to how cold she really becomes. Rukia's Bankai appearance, making her look like a queen of ice, is just the finishing touch. She truly takes after her brother when it's all said and done.
Alright. Oh, so is the ice guy her brother?
And done.
That makes sense. Yeah, that looks sick. I like that. That makes actually sense.
Probably surprising a lot of you guys now, but the second place Zanpakuto for me is Shinso. Shinso is a simple Zanpakuto.
Wait, is that it? It just extends? Okay.
Its true merit is in its Bankai. Its Bankai form, as revealed in the anime, has the ability to plant a part of itself into its target, causing the target to suffer cellular destruction at Gin's beck and call. It seems
Look at that smile. It's like, yep, you're dying.
consuming and melts down an enemy from within, something that seems to fit such a sly and venomous personality like Gin. It takes a lot to elicit a legit reaction of panic out of God Mode Aizen, but Gin did this with his Bankai's ability. All that bullshitting to Ichigo about its speed worked, and for once, the mastermind villain finally got outsmarted, albeit temporarily. Seriously, I don't know a way out of this. We know Bleach can just bypass fatalities and
I love how his sword is so small here, but his thing is to extend it. That makes sense. I like that.
We know Bleach can just bypass fatalities and strong moves by throwing the Reiatsu explanation at us, but ass pulls and God modes aside, I don't think that anyone can survive Shinso's Bankai ability.
Alright, number 1 is gonna be either Aizen or Ichigo. Huh?
At the top of this list is an often overlooked Zanpakuto due to the level of exposure in the anime. There's just so little that the anime had a chance to give for our Captain Kyoraku and his twin sword Zanpakuto guarding Gyokotsu. For someone with his status as a senior captain, he gets so little focus and is somewhat relegated to comic relief, with only serious battles featuring either his unreleased Zanpakuto or the Shikai, which you might remember to revolve around games. Well, his Bankai, as shown in the manga,
I love a character that has 2 swords, like dual wielding. Oof.
Takes a much more dramatic turn. Instead of forcing the opponent to play a game along with him, Shunsui forces his opponents to take part in what seems to be a gruesome reenactment of a play. Taking on a grim and heavy atmosphere, Kyoraku's Bankai acts in phases that show symbolism regarding his relationship with Nanao and the Issei family, but I'll stop right there in order not to spoil it any further. In classic fashion, the Bankai ends with a simple, clean execution. The delivery, the overall drama, and the revelations during the Bankai's debut remains one of the standout parts of the final Bleach arc in my opinion. And that's it. Honorable mentions go to some more fan favorites, notably Zangetsu, Sakanade, and Kyoka Sugetsu. However, given that even in the manga we didn't see much of those Zanpakuto's new powers, most notably given the joke about Ichigo only knowing how to throw Getsuga Tensho variations sadly sticking around and holding true, I decided that those Zanpakuto narrowly missed the cut. Perhaps the anime will add some scenes and give those swords more shine, especially given Bleach's tendency to run filler arcs and episodes. If this video isn't enough,
I'm sure it's kind of different now with the new season, you know.